Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another Warframe Revisited video here on the channel. Now this is number 13 in the series, so if you haven't seen the others, please go check my playlist and watch them. Obviously, if you're not at this point, spoilers lie ahead. Now, this is the second part of the Rising Tide quest. If you haven't watched the first part, again, go and watch that first. We're back in the dry dock, about to install the fourth Railjack component, which is the starboard nacelle. Now, because I've already got a Railjack, I'm not going to have to do the repair. Now, repairs were recently made cheaper and quicker, but if you haven't built your Railjack before, the starboard nacelle will cost you 25,000 credits, 5 carbides, 400 circuits, 2,000 alloy plates, and 10 control modules, and will take you only a minute to build. Now, when you install it, you'll have Cy speak to you first, and then once you've repaired it, he will speak to you again. So,
attempts to save our engines proves fatal. I watch as he is engulfed in flame. Zada is alone at the helm. She beholds the distant flash of torpedo tubes. She says my name. The viewplate blossoms. She ceases to exist. Starboard nacelle reinforced. Soon, cognitive geometries will self-assemble. She will live. But not yet. Transferring tail section data to your orbiter.
So the fifth piece to get is the tail section. And we get that over here at our next mission in Berehidnia Sedna. Now, as I stated in the previous video, they are getting harder with each one. Now, on this one, we're going to have quite a few Grenier, with still Conculus and Battalists also coming to stop us. But now we're still going to only have 3 waves of interference drones, but those interference drones are going to come in larger numbers, with up to 5 drones in that last wave. So, a lot more sentience this time, as well as a lot more Grenier.
High probability of Railjack tail section nearby.
So make sure you've got decent weapons, but also a Warframe that can take a fair amount of damage, because chances are you are going to get hit badly. And that's where I struggled in the previous time that I did this quest. Now, obviously, this quest is like a side quest, technically speaking, so I didn't record this last time. But, yeah, it's quite a difficult quest, actually, towards the end. The 5th and 6th parts of this one and the next one are arguably really difficult missions if you haven't got a tanky Warframe. Now, I know I'm using Volt, who's fairly squishy, but he has a lot of shields, and those shields regenerate very quickly, so arguably, he's not actually a bad choice. Now, I remember this one. This one was actually... I remember them based on the location, really, and how it looks. This one was arguably quite hard because the sentience... I just remember the sentience. There was a lot of them, and they breached quite easily. So arguably you need to kill them when you're taking out the drones. It's probably the easiest way to do it. So speaking of interference drones, here's the first interference drone wave. 3 of those Vonvalist interference drones right here. Thankfully we don't have any Battlists or Conquilists yet. Or at least, if we do, I haven't seen them. Which means they've not attacked me yet. So that's always good. If we just do a discharge ability, any Grineer that are approaching should be held at bay long enough for us to reach the second wave of interference drones. So we have 3 interference drones this time. Again, so if we go and take them out swiftly, then in theory we can then move on to the last part of this particular piece. And of course the Vonvalist spawns behind a locked door. We love that. We do all really love that.
Back to work. Let us get this over with.
So when we get back in here again, I'm going to do a discharge ability just to try and clear out any enemies that are approaching, or any that are actually already in the circle. But here's where we get our first sentience spawning as well. So we've got some Conquilists and some Battlists as well. So make sure to utilise your Tenno, because Tenno void damage does reset the immunities of the sentients themselves. Now, when the third wave spawns, you'll get 5 interference drones, but you'll also get another surge of Conquilists and Battlists. My advice, take out the Conquilists and the Battlists first, because they will damage you hard. So, all in all, just whatever you do, make sure that you don't die, because you will probably end up using a few revives on this if you are not careful. And you only get 4 revives per mission, so if you use like all of them now, you might not be able to revive during the last run. So just that's why I'm saying try and make sure you got someone tanky just in case you do die, because you are obviously capped to those 4 revives. So if we head back into the circle, do a discharge just in case any enemies are approaching, so that'll stop them in their tracks, because obviously they're electrocuted, they can't exactly run when they're being zapped.
Dorsal stabilizers, salvageable. Cogitators, viable. Marking for recovery.
So from here we just extract. Simple enough. Bada bing, bada boom. Head to extraction, and then Ordis will pull us out from there. So obviously we now, again, going to go back to the dry dock. Now the dry dock I'm using, in case you didn't watch part 1 of this, we are just using the Leonov relay in Europa, because it does have a dry dock, and obviously your relays do also have navigation. So if we just go there, we can just repeatedly go back to navigation, head upstairs to the dry dock, install a piece, repair the piece, even though we don't have to repair them because they've already been repaired for us, and then head back downstairs to navigation, where we just go to the next mission. So speaking of repairs, to repair the tail section in the dry dock, now this one gets a little bit more expensive, and you might have to do an extra mission to repair this one, because 25,000 credits, 5 cubic diodes, 750 ferrite, which is cheap enough, 300 polymer bundle, which again is cheap enough, but you do need an Argon Crystal. So chances are you may need to run a Void mission to go and get that Argon Crystal, because obviously they do decay over time. Now, again, that only takes 1 minute to repair. Then once you've repaired that... Oh, it somehow, for some reason, has sent us back to our orbiter, so we're going to have to go back to the Leonov relay. But once you have repaired that part, you will then get sent on to the 6th and final part. And for some reason, we are stuck in a perpetual loop of starting in 0 seconds if we cancel and restart the timer. Oh dear. It, for some unknown reason, isn't liking It's not liking sending us to the Leonov relay. That's because we're already at the Leonov relay. Well, I think I just kind of broke the game there. Oh well, if we just head straight through to the dry dock, go and install this part. Again, Cy will talk to you when you first install it, and he will talk to you again when you restore it, but he's just going to speak to us both right now, because obviously we have already repaired it.
Railjack, Sigma series, top of the line. Crew, 4,890 confirmed kills. Complete the mission. Preserve the crew. 13 system-wide errors. There were no errors. There was only me following my orders. In her final moment, I think Zara knew that. Presets. Complete the mission. Preserve the crew. To complete the mission, the crew must die. To preserve the crew is to fail the mission. The crew exists to complete the mission. Therefore, I completed the mission. Why was I?
Cy's having a bit of an existential crisis there.
You require a viable command, Cephalon. You understand why I am non-viable. Replacement Cephalon not yet located. A solution must exist.
So we now got to go and get the final component, which is the engine cowling, which we actually get on Europa. So we're going to Arias Europa, and this one is going to be arguably the hardest of the 6 pieces to recover, because this is going to have the largest amount of corpus, the largest amount of sentience, and the largest amount of interference drones, arguably. So we'll go straight in, we'll go and get this piece.
Cowling identified. Visual verification required. Move in.
So arguably, it just takes a little bit of time to actually get to the piece. But we don't need to kill all of the corpus on the way there, realistically, do we? So if we just head straight on through, I've gone up the wrong way, so if we go back down. But if we just go straight through and go and get this piece, should be simple enough. We know what we're doing, we know how this works. It's not exactly complicated, it's just a little bit difficult. So again, we've got a powerful frame, powerful weapons. Like, arguably, Volt Prime is actually a very powerful frame. He just isn't exactly the tankiest, but if you mod him right, you can get, I mean, as well as my health and shield there, and the shield is massive. You want bigger shield than health with Volt, I would argue. So if anyone wants my Volt Prime build as well, I'll happily give it out. And as I say, if anyone wants to join the clan, Dragonvale will be happy to have you. But yeah, so arguably you want shields on Volt. Armor, I managed to actually get a decent amount of armor. I managed to get 400 armor on my Volt, so arguably he is fairly tanky. But it's his abilities that are always useful. So we've got our first lot of interference, and it's only 2 dampening drones, but we've already got sentient conquilists as well. So if we use our Tenno amp, the one that we custom made, that'll help us take out those conquilists, which will allow us to then continue the scan. So the second wave of interference, 3 interference drones this time, and again, I think you get 2 battalists spawning in this time. Not quite sure if I've got that correct. There might be a conquilist or 2 as well. Just all I'm saying is make sure you are prepared, because all in all, there's not too many sentients. Like, it's definitely a manageable number, but when I first played this quest, I was still somewhat new to the game, so, like, arguably, if you know what you're doing, you'll be good, but if you're still fairly new to fighting sentients, just make sure that you utilise your Tenno abilities in order to reset their damage immunities, because that really will be useful for you. So, we're now on the 3rd and final interference stage. Again, battalists and conquilists will spawn. I think there's like about 2 of each maybe. But there is also 5 of those interference drones this time. So make sure, again, just to take your time. Try, and if you can, get 1 in a room on its own or something. Like, try and single them off, pick them off, because if you try to fight them all at the same time, chances are you might lose a life or 2, because they are going to swarm you. And add that to the fact that there are also corpus here. You can't forget that there are still the corpus in the actual mission itself. So, if you try and get the sentients and the drones down, and also taking out the sentients, you're going to get some sentient cores, which are always useful for all the quills. So, I mean, we've almost got this now, and once we've done this mission, I think the actual quest itself from here gets a lot easier. Well, there's also some Oxium Ospreys, so on the way out, if we see an Oxium Osprey, we'll kill it. We'll just try and get that Oxium, because Oxium is going to be very, very useful for your weapon crafting and such as we go into the new war. You're going to need it for a lot of weapons, and if you're in a clan, you're going to need it for research. Now, if you are looking for a clan, I know I've said this multiple times now, but I'm going to just keep repeating myself. If you're looking for a clan, one that's particularly one that's got things researched, you're welcome to join our clan, Dragonvale. I mean, it is run by Ollie Sankey, but I'm sort of like a co-owner at this point. But I mean, we have pretty much researched every single weapon that you can research in there, in the Warframes as well, and the arc gun, well, arc wing components. So literally everything that you can get from clan research is pretty much researched now, with the exception of maybe a couple weapons. But yeah, if you want to come and join our clan and benefit from those weapons as well, you're more than welcome to do so. So, as we now head back to the dry dock, now obviously Again, I'm not going to have to repair the parts. Oh my god, we got 5 intact sentient cores and 84 oxygen out of that mission. But yeah, I'm not going to have to repair the parts myself in the dry dock, but some of you guys watching might have to. So if you do, the cost for this final part now, the engine cowling, is now 25,000 credits, 5 cubic diodes, 10 detonite ampules, 750 ferrite, and 1,000 salvage. And again, will only take a minute for you to craft. Now, as with all the other pieces, again, he will talk to you when you first install it, and he will talk to you again once you have actually repaired it. And then after that, we've just got 2 more little things to do that are very much simple little things. It won't take 5 minutes. So, once we've loaded back into the Leonov relay, head straight back through to the dry dock area upstairs, and we'll go and install that engine cowling.
All known Cephalons surveyed. None conform to tactical parameters. None possess necessary astrocation poetics. None possess a comprehensive warfighting database. Viable Cephalons. Nil. Work crews report tools down. Railjack structure complete. Structure reinforcement complete. Systems restoration complete. Your presence is required on the dry dock.
So now he needs us again one more time, just for us to finish off the repairs, which will then rebuild your Railjack. Now obviously, as you can see, mine is already sort of decorated. I mean, red gold, and I've got a sort of pinky purple glow coming off of it, and blue accents as well.
All records of my mission have been purged from the weave. Why, I do not know. I had a crew. I must accept sole responsibility for their deaths. Conclusion: I am non-viable. But I am the only Railjack-compatible Cephalon. The sentients have almost rebuilt. Conclusion: I am, under the circumstances, a viable...
If we will have you, of course we will have you, Cephalon Cy.
Understood. I will begin the process of integrating myself with the ship's systems. This may take some time. Commencing. You may now enter your Railjack.
Now, it's not going to let me do the last quest, the last mission in that quest. But if you have never done this one before, you will now be instructed to go onto your Railjack. And when you go onto your Railjack for the first time, there'll be a crucial part missing at the back, which I'm going to go and show you really quickly now, which is the Reliquary Drive, which looks like a little finger in a tub. You've actually, if you've never done this quest before, you've actually got to go and get that piece yourself. But the Reliquary Drive, you'll go and do a mission in Lua where you've got to go and basically collect the Void Key. Once you've collected the key, you insert it into the Reliquary Drive, which then makes your Railjack fully functional, so that then you can use it in Imperium missions. But the Reliquary Drive, to collect the Void Key on Lua, you will have to avoid corrupted and sentient enemies. Now, those of you that don't know what the Reliquary Drive is, it's this little thing here. As you can see, there's almost like what looks like a big finger inside it. And you can interact with it, and Cy ends up talking some weird stuff. And sometimes when you're around here and you've interacted with it, you'll get greeted by a secretive being known as the Man in the Wall, who will basically say stuff like, "Hey kiddo," and He'll scare the life out of you sometimes, I will admit. But yeah, with that in mind, guys, that was the Rising Tide quest. I hope you found these videos informative, enjoyable, and fun to watch. And I'll see you all tomorrow for the next quest. Goodbye.